I got to check. I'm not very familiar with this area. I apologize. Sure, it's beautiful though. If the county or the state's going to condemn a piece of property, what do they have to give you for it?
Fair market value.
Right. How do you determine fair market value?
3 appraisals.
3 appraisals. Okay. Mexico, the requirement is 2. And do you have the right to challenge the value?
Yes.
Does it mean you're going to get more money for the property?
Maybe.
Maybe. Depends on how good your appraisals are, right? And how good an argument you make. Same thing in Mexico. As I've said before, this is not the Wild West. Okay? You have the right to challenge. You may or may not get more money for the property. Article 27 also mandated in 1917. And now keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I know you have perceptions about Mexico today, but you have to understand part of the history and the chronology of where they've come from to where they are today in 2007. So in 1917, in their constitution, they said that we will allow foreigners to purchase property in the interior of Mexico. In the interior of Mexico, as the Constitution defined it, provided that foreign buyers, 1, registered their ownership with the Secretary of Foreign Relations, okay? And 2, in the deed that is going to convey the title and establish their ownership, which is known as an escritura publica. Escritura is spelled, we don't have the board here, it's E-S-C-R-I-T-U-R-A. Translated, it's a deed. Okay, so it's the public notarization, comes from the word escriturar, which means to notarize. The public notarization of this instrument. And in this public instrument, this deed, there's a provision there called the Calvo Clause. And what this provision does and says is that you as a foreign buyer, when you execute this escritura publica, this deed for your ownership, you are going to waive your rights to having your respective government intervene on your behalf in the event that there is a defect in title or a dispute or a lawsuit or a challenge to your ownership. Now think about that for a second. You mean to tell me I signed this deed and the government is telling me that I can't go and invoke the protection of the United States or Canada or China or Guatemala or whoever in the event that there is a dispute that my adjacent landowner, my neighbor over here, challenges my rights of ownership? Is that not unlike the United States? If you buy property anywhere in the U.S., are you not subject to the laws of the city, the state, and the U.S.? Mexico decided, though, because of this provision that originated out of Argentina, that they wanted to have it in their constitution. You will see it in the deed. There is a section in there, besides declarations and antecedentes, it'll be entitled Clausulas Calvo, the Calvo Clause. That's what it's referring to. Okay? In 1917, in the Constitution, Mexico put in a provision that was actually brought forward from their previous Constitution of 1860. And it said and created a prohibited zone in the nation. And this prohibited zone was defined as all of that land area within 100 kilometers of the natural borders of Mexico. So, all of the United States, Guatemala, Belize, think back about the map that I showed you at the beginning. 100 kilometers, 62 miles inland, más o menos. 50 kilometers inland along all of the Costa del Mar, so all of the sea coast that bounds Mexico, so 31 miles inland, and all of the Baja Peninsula. So when you cross at San Diego from your beautiful city there, and now you're in Tijuana and you're thinking, I'm not sure I want to be here. But then you go out to the Quota, which is Highway 1, and you come down the coastline and you go, wow, beautiful Pacific, just like what we have in California. And you continue all the way down to Land's End. Both of those 2 states, both of those coastlines are in this prohibited zone of Mexico. And in 1917, the Constitution says we do not allow any foreigners whatsoever, nadie, ninguno, nobody, to own property in our most prized areas. Now, think about that for a second. How many of you would agree that that is a fairly protectionist provision? Duh. Right? We're not going to allow any foreigner, we don't care where you come from, you can't own property anywhere within 62 miles of our border, 31 miles of our coastline, and anywhere in the Baja. Protectionist or not, yes or no?
Yes.
Why did it exist? Why did they bring it from the Constitution of 1860, that's a hint, and put it in their Constitution of 1970, and it still exists today.
Spain?
This provision still exists today.
Spain? Because it was Spain.
Spain. Now, that's not a bad comment, but that's not the right comment.
Well,
They don't want it to be part of the United States.
They don't want to be part of the United States. Why?
That I cannot answer because they tried to get here, so I don't know.
Any thoughts?
Is that when the U.S. lost, or the Mexico lost California? Or the,
California.
part of California?
They lost California?
It's all Texas' fault.
It's all Texas' fault. Good comment. And true.
Sam Houston.
Ah, history. Let's see. 1836, as I remember, 1830s. It's important to remember this, because and you'll understand why. As Americans, we do not talk about this time period other than basically one event. And what occurred subsequently, we don't even put in our history books. And you'll understand. Mexico allowed the colonization of its Northwest territories in the 1830s by Anglo settlers. Okay? And so Anglo settlers, Americans, moved in to the Northwest territories of Mexico. Yet, we had no representation. This was Mexican territory. We owed taxes to Mexico City, but we had no say-so in government, in how our lives were going to be led in this territory, in this Republic of Mexico. And so what did we do? We revolted. Exactly. We decided, this cry went out for independence, right? And I think as we've learned, the latest Alamo with Billy Bob and the other guys notwithstanding, that this cry went out for independence, and some of the mercenaries that had cool names and came from Tennessee and Kentucky and Virginia, and they had funny hats with tails on them and big knives, right? And they went to this place called the Misiones Alamo. How many of y'all been to the Alamo? Wait a minute, wait. Put those hands up again. How many? Oh my God. 5? Well, for you 5, kidding now, you gotta remember, you gotta have some levity in this. What was your reaction when you saw the Alamo?
Speechless.
What was your reaction when the first time you saw the Alamo?
It's tiny.
Tiny! It's like, where's the rest of it? Right? No wonder they got massacred. This place is little, right? Well, 187 brave souls going to defend. Mexico sent General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, and what ensued was, unfortunately, the loss of all these people, save one, and you've seen the movies and all this stuff. Remember the Alamo. Well, Santa Anna made a fatal mistake. What was left of the garrison, he brought down Interstate 10. It was under construction then too. And it was over on the east side of what would become Houston. As Californians, y'all don't come to Texas to vacation. I've got to tell you. Occasionally you may drive through our state going to New Orleans. I've got to tell you, the city is called New Orleans. New Orleans, or New Orleans, as some of them say. It's not New Orleans. I went to LSU. Trust me, I know. Okay? But what's really funny is that as Californians, y'all understand coming through Arizona and then New Mexico, and then all of a sudden you get to El Paso and you think you're getting close. 14 hours later, you're nuts. You're like, I'm never going to get out of the state. I hope I never drive through here again. Right? You might stop in San Antonio because we have SeaWorld, which y'all have, and you have Fiesta, Texas, and that's cool. And the boil. So, but anyway, you'll see a big old 700-foot spire monument out there by the San Jacinto River. And the reason that spire monument is there with a star, a single star on the top, get it, right? Was because of this battle, the Battle of San Jacinto. And there, General Sam Houston captured General Santa Anna, put him in shackles, sent him back to Mexico City. In 1845, and after 9 years of no resolution